go. Okay, I think we're back. All right, so I'm just going to show you quickly the link that I provided to our advising and career development site. If you type in yk.psu.edu/ACD, it'll take you here. And here's where you can go to Nittany Lion Career Network, like I was saying. And all of you already are loaded into that. You can just log in using the same credentials you use for eLion, whether you've been on it before or not. But if you go to the For Students tab on our website, you'll read about a lot of this stuff that I already talked about LionLink and Interview Stream and all of that. But I do want to show you some of the resources here as far as, let me see if we got MyPlan. Okay, so here's the link to the MyPlan website. So even if you don't end up taking my class, you can still complete the MyPlan assessments. If you don't end up wanting to take the assessments at all, it's a really good website for self-reflection. And so a lot of the assessments that you complete in MyPlan are ones that the activity that we're going to be completing they're based on a lot of these assessments. And so just using it as a tool to gather more information about majors or careers, it's a really user-friendly tool. And I think that they did a good job designing it. And they really do mean from middle school all the way up to adults and career changers. I've given this out to dual enrollment high school students, and I've also given this assessment out to 45-year-old engineer that was looking to make a career change. And so it's got a lot of useful information. So I just want to show you, if you go up to the Careers tab and you want to type in, so anybody have a career that I can just type in?
Computer engineering.
Computer engineering? Sounds good. And now they might not have something exactly like it. But they probably have things that are close. So this is kind of the format, too, when you complete one of the assessments that your results will be in. So let's go to, they have something in computer, electronics, engineering technicians. Let's go with this. That's not really computer engineering, but it's related. And a lot of what I do also is saying, well, we don't have that exact major, or we don't have information on that exact career, but or maybe you want to be a computer engineer, but you're not going to get into computer science at University Park because you're struggling in calculus and you've decided you don't want to go past calculus 2 anyway. So actually, electronics engineering technician would be a good place, another kind of related field to take a look at. What would be the majors that would be associated with that field? So they talk about related careers here. There's a video that'll give you an overview on it. Not all of them have videos, but many of them do. And so you can just kind of scan here and say, okay, this is interesting, and I'll delve deeper and click on one of these, or I'll move on and go back and look at something else. But there's a lot of information here. You can really go very granular and look at the employment outlook and the projected salaries. And then here are some of the related majors. So computer engineering technology technician, some of the electrical engineering, let me see. Electrical and electronic engineering technologies. Now, we don't have anything called, exactly electrical and electronic engineering technology, but we have electrical engineering technology as an associate degree at Penn State York. So that's often a great alternative if somebody is thinking, computer engineering. They're struggling in calculus. The thought now of going to differential equations and beyond is just absolutely, petrifies them. We can take a look at a career and a related major that would be more appropriate. Electrical engineering technology, I don't think you have to even get to calculus for that. And that's a 2-year degree that we offer here at the Penn State York campus. And that I know from working with employers that while a lot of associate degrees are difficult to get a job at a competitive salary level with baccalaureate degree, when you're competing with people that have a bachelor's degree, our electrical and mechanical engineering technology associate degrees, there are recruiters that are calling specifically for students with that, that major, with that degree. So you can see why being a career counselor as well as an academic advisor is something that does require me to be really flexible and change a lot, but it's also something that is very beneficial to me when I'm working with students that are exploring these kind of alternatives. So that gives you kind of an overview of my plan, just very, very basically. I could talk about that for an hour just alone. But I want to see quickly if you have any questions for me about what I covered so far before we get started on the activity, which will probably take you about 15 minutes. Any questions about me, what I do, advising career development, any of that? No? All right. Well, I've got a handout on effective career decision making, the class I was talking about, and I've also got an activity that will. I'm not sure if we can get through the whole thing, so maybe we'll just see how much we can get through in 15 minutes. So go ahead and start, when you get this, start reading through the first part and completing the first portion, which I think is on personality. But all of this is a way of looking at your interests, how you are when you're working, how you are when you're learning, and where you're most comfortable, where you feel the most engaged. So that's really useful information to have when we start thinking about big decisions like majors and careers. Oh, and I will say too, I know that this was something that came up in our conversation, Suzanne, when we were talking about my visit today. But when you come to specifics regarding how important your major is and how well you do in your major and how that can have an impact on your career, one of the reasons that we say do something that you love. Think about a major that you're going to be engaged with and that you can succeed in, that really does relate closely to your abilities, and why I think that it's not really helpful to think only about, it's important to think about what you're going to make when you get a job. It's important to think about how much your tuition costs. But the reason I think that's kind of an impoverished way of looking at it, if you're only considering those aspects, is because if we're good at what we're doing, and we're really interested in, and the major that we're studying is something that's really engaging to us, chances are we're going to have a higher GPA. We're going to just be naturally, it's going to come a lot easier. That's for sure. And I'll just say that one of the very specific impacts of that decision is that many employers will screen out candidates. I mean, they've got 200 maybe candidates for a particular position, and they don't get paid extra, they don't get paid by the resume. One easy way for them to screen out those candidates is just to take out everyone who's got it below a 3.0. And so it's not really as simple as, well, just pick this major, and if you major in engineering or you major in business or you could become a doctor, everything's fine. It's just not that simple, unfortunately. It's a lot more of a nuanced decision, and the situation is more complex than that. And if you want to go on to graduate school, having a 3.0 grade point average is often the minimum. I'm not saying you can't get an internship without a 3.0 GPA. I know you can. You'd probably be very successful in your career if everyone who had below a 3.0 in college didn't have a job. The employment situation in this country would be far worse. So you can go to graduate school without a 3.0. But in some cases, it may be impossible for what you want to do. And in some cases, the specific opportunity that you want may not be available if you don't have that 3.0 GPA or higher. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have a 3.0 every semester, but it means that your cumulative GPA, there's so many more doors open for you if you have that than are open if you don't. So you can still travel and make a really solid career move with a 2.5 GPA, but again, there's going to be fewer choices. So that's why when we're talking about doing something you love, it's not just rhetoric. It's something that is really related to a lot of the facts of how people are hiring for internships and how graduate schools are looking at candidates. So I'll stop talking now, and you can go ahead and work on this for, say, we'll give it 10 minutes, and then we'll kind of reconvene, see where you are, and you can discuss it with your the person next to you.